Hello, Bashar.
Good day.
I have a few statements that I want to run by you.
Yes.
So in 2018, I got that the hybrid children would be landing not only in the US, but perhaps in China. And then I got in 2019 that they would be landing in 2025.
Not all the time, not all the way, and sometimes just for practice. It will not necessarily be a permanent thing that early. But
Okay.
that's the beginning of the window of open contact. So when we say that's the beginning of the window of open contact, we don't mean everything's going to happen all in one day. We mean that it will still take some time and there will still be a process, but that is the starting point.
And then just a few days ago, I got some countries or some places, 7 that I thought they might appear.
Such as?
Sedona, of course, I think.
Yes, yes, yes,
The Big Island of Hawaii.
yes.
Um, in Japan, northern Japan, and I got where the Ainu lived. And then I looked that up. That's Hokkaido.
Yes.
And then I got China, but that's still TBD.
Well, more toward the idea of Tibet.
Oh, okay. I thought more like the Indian China border.
Well, that's another area too.
Oh,
But
okay.
India is India.
Okay. And then I got Egypt, and then I got Alexander the Great, and then when I looked that up, he founded the city of Alexandria.
What a coincidence that it bears his name.
And then I got, for whatever reason, Prague.
That is a possibility, though not absolutely definite yet.
And then I got Belarus, somewhere near the Latvian border.
That is also a probability, but not a high one at this time. Many changes must occur in the area before that region could become compatible for hybrid sequestering.
Okay. And then when you spoke earlier about fear and
Yes.
power and feeling it,
Yes.
what if, there's this concept of being an empath.
Yes.
How does that play into it? Because I feel like I'm an empath.
It's the same mechanism. It's the same mechanism that we described. You cannot be empathic unless you're using your energy to match the frequency of someone else's emotional outpouring. You have to match that frequency in order to recreate a simulation of their emotion and share it in a sense. So it's the same mechanism.
But then there's books about how to stop yourself from picking up people's emotions.
Yes.
Are is
All that means is you don't match the frequency. That's the entire content of those books in a nutshell. Don't match that frequency.
and if it's all my energy, what if I don't ever want to feel other people's feelings? I mean,
But
is there an
remember,
upside downside?
in a sense, because remember, the idea is you have to look at the reason why you may be saying that. Because if you're saying that for a reason that is connected to fear, you're actually gravitating toward that experience. So the idea is to understand that you can allow yourself to choose to prefer certain frequencies that would automatically make it that you would not experience other people's frequencies and energies that are vibrationally incompatible with what you prefer. It's simple physics. But the idea is to be afraid to experience things when they come up like that is actually the opposite effect, because the fear puts you in that experience you don't prefer. So the idea is to know that whatever it is that does happen, figure out a way to use it positively for yourself. And that means you will take yourself to a positive frequency that will make it less likely that if you experience it at all, you won't experience it for long. And you'll have learned how to control your frequency by having had an experience of a frequency you don't prefer, so that it gives you an opportunity to shift to a frequency more easily that you do prefer by contrast. You have to stay in a positive state. Remember the formula that we've shared with all of you. The fourth point in the formula is no matter what happens, even if something happens you don't prefer, you have to stay in a positive state to get a benefit out of it, because if it does happen, there's a reason for it happening. Nothing happens by accident. So even if you experience something in a moment you don't prefer, allow yourself to use what you don't prefer in a way you do. If nothing else, being shown something you don't prefer, having an experience you don't prefer, can, by contrast, give you more clarity on what you do prefer instead. And that's a positive way to use what you don't prefer. And once you use it up, it'll go away because it has served its purpose. You've gotten the lesson, you've gotten the point, and not rejected it as being invalid or not belonging in your life. So you can't approach this from fear, or you just create more of that. You have to approach it from a positive energy so that you can use it up and send it on its way.
So is a good permission slip if you're feeling like whatever, I think you could call it someone's bad vibes or whatever. You would say, okay, I'm feeling someone's bad vibes. How can I make this positive for myself? Is that
Well,
a
the
good
idea
permission
is
slip?
to understand there must be a reason why you have allowed yourself to experience that. So yes, how can I use this information and how can I use this experience to illuminate myself in a positive way? Is it something that allows me to help them because I am understanding what they're going through and I can offer them an alternative? Is that one reason that I'm experiencing this from them? You only have to experience it then for the brief amount of time that you recognize you're experiencing it. And if it's for the purpose of sharing ideas with them that could allow them to change their vibration, that may be the only reason why you experienced it at all. So you have to figure out with your imagination, what is a positive way that I can use this idea, this experience of what I'm feeling right now. I already gave you the example of, by contrast, you know more clearly what you do prefer. But there may be other things that you could do with it, like helping them change their vibration.
Is it sometimes a past life thing as well?
No, no, no.
No.
Again, past lives are an illusion. There's no such thing. You make a connection from the present to other people that exist at the same time you do, that from your space-time perspective, you think exist in the past. And on that connection, that energy linkage that you make, that bridge that you build between you, you are downloading information and experience. And you could say from that context, all right, well, I'm getting this information from another life, someone's life that I think of as being in the past, but it's not you. It's another person. You only experience it as having been you because from your space-time perspective, that present linkage feels like a memory. That's the way you interpret those things because you believe that there's such a thing as the past and the future. But everything exists simultaneously now because the present is all there is. So even though you may be being informed by someone else's life that you think of as a past life, it's still up to you to understand that that experience is being created in the present. It doesn't actually come from the past. Therefore, you get to use it however you wish because it's fully in your present as an experience.
Okay.
Do you understand?
I think so because I had an experience.
Yes.
I ran into someone that
Yes.
I was at one of your sessions actually in Oakland.
Yes.
And there was someone in the bathroom, and I felt like she totally hated me, and I didn't really know who she was other than we were at the same event.
All right. But again, if that was an accurate perception, it could be for a variety of reasons that you're picking up on the idea of her vibration. So it wouldn't even necessarily be anything personal. It might just be that you represent something that she hates about herself.
So I don't always have to necessarily look at what's going on with me. It could be also going on with the other person, and I'm just
Yes.
picking it up.
Yes.
Okay. But is it worth also looking at any type of negative beliefs I have?
Yes, of course, always. Always make sure you're clear. And then if you know you're clear, that's your first clue that it's probably the other person's issue and you're just sensitive to it.
Okay, that's good to know because that was
Yes,
really
yes.
confusing.
Always take the responsibility of making sure you are clear. After that, it's everyone else's issue, not yours.
Okay, my God, that's so okay.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
Thank you.
That will do.
Thank you.
Child abuse is an epidemic these days, and maybe it always has been throughout the history of our world, and it's all coming out now. Does that mean children have limiting beliefs, and that's why they're abused? I mean, many of the children that are abused. Or is there a different reason? Was it a choice by the soul to incarnate, to have particular experiences? Because how can a child who is still natural, still in touch with nature, have such negative belief systems? I've always found that a bit puzzling. So thank you very much.
Well, first of all, there cannot be one general answer for this because it depends upon the particular person and soul and the theme they are exploring. So there can be many reasons for those kinds of experiences. One reason can be that a soul might actually choose to have that experience because it might add to the overall collective experience of abuse and help it reach a point where your society will finally agree that such a thing should never happen again. So a soul might add to the pile of experiences, knowing that by doing so, you might reach a tipping point sooner that would allow your society to change and not have those experiences from that point forward. Other children might simply pick upon the belief systems of their parents and thus harbor limiting beliefs that come from their parents because they may need to use those limiting beliefs to push against in order to transform negative experiences in their lives into more positive ones by having chosen things to push against to propel them in a more positive direction. So again, you have to kind of take it on a case-by-case, person-by-person, child-by-child basis as to why they might be experiencing certain things, either of their choosing or from the belief systems that might be ensconced in their unconscious mind that they may have picked up from parents or society or schooling or friends that demonstrate that these things exist in your society to give you an opportunity to see them more clearly and to decide what to do about changing those experiences on your planet in the future.